Welcome to Hedwigs Army. Hosted and produced by Josh Clayton and Trevor Feldman.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
Welcome to Hedwigs Army. I'm Josh.
And I'm Trevor, and in this week, we are going to talk about Chapter 5, Diagon Alley.
Yes, we are. But before we get into that, we have a spoiler alert we would like to give to Harry Potter reread. So anything that is discussed in these chapters can and will involve spoilers.
And most likely will.
Most likely will. We just wrote down the notes and summary. There are some major spoilers ahead. So, just know that going in, it is now your responsibility. So, this week we're going to be changing up the format of the podcast a little bit. You'll see as you go, again, to reduce the timing of it. We're just trying to find the perfect combination for everything. But we hope you guys enjoy it, so let us know how you guys feel about that. And also, if you haven't listened to the Nagini episode yet, then we would like to first off apologize for the little absence, the little hiatus we took. Just a lot of things.
Had a couple of weeks where we weren't feeling so great.
Yeah.
I just recently got married.
Yes, he did. Woo, my boy! Yeah, so we just, a lot was happening, and we just weren't able to, prepare ourselves to provide the best content to our listeners. So we decided to just take some time, get some things figured out, change some things around. And I know if you've been following the Facebook, I've been holding out some promises to record and haven't been following through on them. And the biggest reason for that, no excuses, but it's just because I haven't felt ready to provide the top quality podcast to you guys. And I think we're in a comfortable place now. We've got some things figured out. And here we are. We're back, and we're ready to get it going. So, without further ado, I think we're actually recording this before the Nagini episode because this is such a long chapter. We want to just get it out. But I'm pretty sure
when I was reading it, I was so surprised. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Because the chapters before are so short. I think actually the chapter before this was like insanely short.
Yeah, it was just boring.
I think it was actually the shortest episode.
It was boring. It was just
the shortest chapter. It was like, hey, so we meet Hagrid, he does a couple things, and then they go to sleep.
Yep.
This one it's like, oh,
we meet Hagrid, he tells off the Dursleys, gives Harry a cake, and then turns Dudley into a pig. Boom, chapter 4 done.
But like chapter 5, it's like,
oh yeah.
Well, here's Diagon Alley, but here's how we get there.
And here's Gringotts, and okay, you'll learn. No sneak peeks. But anyways, so my point is, since we're doing it for the Nagini episode, I plan on going a little more in detail of why we took our hiatus, and we want to make a fresh start here. We're changing up the podcast format. We're making it shorter. We're making things better. And
you'll notice our intro is a little bit different.
Yes, our intro's new. I hope you guys enjoy that. Let us know.
And the
Anyways,
outro will also be new.
What's that?
The outro. We're working on the outro.
Oh, yeah. We're working on a new outro. It's going to be the same for now because it's a lot of work. And we've been working crazy amounts of overtime at work, and we've been sick. I've been sick a lot. Trevor has been on his honeymoon.
Yes, honeymoon.
Yes, queen. But anyways, without further ado, let's not make you guys wait any longer. You've waited long enough. Let's get into Chapter 5, Diagon Alley. So what we're going to do is we're going to read a kind of a short summary where it's just, you'll see what it is. But
as short as it can be.
Short summary. We're going to go over that. I'm going to read through the summary, and then we're going to dive back in to the chapter and talk about some notes that we've written down for you guys. So, boom, boom, boom. Hagrid wakes up to an owl wanting to be paid for the Daily Prophet. Hagrid's Hagrid decides it is time to get into town and buy Harry's school supplies. Harry's worried because he's got no money, and Uncle Vernon is a no-go for help. Hagrid reassures him that his parents wouldn't leave him broke. They head through London, where Hagrid is getting strange looks because, well, he is a half-giant after all. That's probably not your typical thing to see walking down the road. They board the train to London, and they're off to buy some things. Harry questions where he's going to get all this in London, but don't worry, because Hagrid knows what he is doing. He's not his first rodeo. Harry and Hagrid arrive at the Leaky Cauldron, where people lose their minds at the sight of Harry. People start coming up to him and greeting him, and I'm this and I'm that, thank you so much. Obviously, Harry doesn't know what's going on. After they're able to scurry away from the crowd, Hagrid takes them into the back, where he meets a brick wall. However, Hagrid, again, knows what he's doing, gives it a couple taps with his umbrella, and boom, Diagon Alley it is. Before Harry can shop, Hagrid reminds them that they got to get his money first. So they head over to Gringotts and get his money. They're taken to Harry's vault, where he quickly realizes that he is rich. Like, he is stinking rich. He actually changes his manners right then and there. It goes from, hi Hagrid, to, good day, sir. Sorry. They're also taken to another mysterious vault that has an item that Hagrid is picking up for Dumbledore. Very mysterious. Once outside of Gringotts and pockets full of money, Harry was off to buy his school supplies. First, he went to Madame Malkin's shop, where he was able to get his school uniform. While there, he meets a stuck-up boy, wink wink, also getting his robes for Hogwarts. Next was Flourish and Blots for his books. After that, they hit up the apothecary, where he gets potions, supplies, and they're on their way to the last stop, which is Ollivander's. Hagrid makes a pit stop with him at the Aelops Owl Emporium. I think that's how you say that. Aelops? E-E-Y. I don't know how to say that.
Sounds right.
Aelops. Anyways, to the owl shop, where Hagrid bought Harry his first ever owl for his birthday. Wink, wink again. And then, their final stop, Ollivander's for a wand. Ollivander recognizes Harry right away. After trying a couple of wands, Harry finds the perfect fit. However, Ollivander informs him that his wand shared a tail feather with you know whose wand, Voldemort. When they left Ollivander's, Hagrid took him back to the train station to head back to the Dursleys until the school year started.
Now, I know we're not quite into it yet. We'll touch on it later. But it's kind of ironic, in that first meeting with Ollivander, that, like, it's like, okay, well, you have the same wand that shares your wand's core is the reason that your parents are dead, and you have a scar on your head.
Yep.
Like, oh, okay, that's kind of,
it's,
like, creepily ironic.
Yes, sir. It sure is. But like I said, we have a lot to talk about that when we get to that point in our notes here. But yeah, without that wand, Harry's here with his parents, not Hagrid. Anyway, so we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning of this chapter. It's actually the first page of this chapter, when the Daily Prophet gets delivered. This. I want to make a note of this. It's important because it's our first look at the actual magical world. Up until this point, Hagrid is just talking. It's just a big guy telling them, hey, you're a wizard. I also like to drink a lot. So, basically, and I love Hagrid. Don't get me wrong. Hagrid's my boy. I love Hagrid. But at this point, it's an alcoholic to big monstrous guy telling him, you good? You stepped on a pin. Sorry. Trevor stepped on a pin. But up until this point, it's just a big guy, alcoholic, telling him that he's magic, and he's done a couple magic things, but like magicians are in the real world, doesn't mean that you can't fake it to make it. But this, he gets the Daily Prophet, and he gets to actually see the wizarding world for what it is. Okay, we're back. Sorry. Trevor stepped on a pin, and he was in a little bit of pain. But anyways, we're talking about Daily Prophet, and it's Harry's first take of the wizarding world. It's the first real chance he gets to see that it's real and it's out there, and the pictures are moving, and like this is it. This is now it's become. Harry woke up feeling like it was a dream, but instead he woke up to it becoming more of a reality for him. So that's a very important part. I wrote here, Hagrid notes that Dumbledore trusts him. The reason this is important is because it's also mentioned, we also mentioned this in our first ever episode, because Hagrid brings Harry to the Dursleys, and now Hagrid's picking him up from the Dursleys.
It's kind of like he's like a big brother almost.
Yeah, basically he's Harry's
like,
big brother.
hey, what's up, little bro?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you somewhere, because,
Right.
Grandpa decided he wanted
Okay, Grandpa. Wow. Alright, this is.
I mean,
this
to
thing.
be honest, though, like,
No, yeah, it
Dumbledore's kind of
basically
filled
is.
in for, like, the grandfather.
It basically is. Hagrid's like a father figure, and Dumbledore's like a grandfather figure type thing, or a brother figure of Harry. Anyways, so I just wanted to point that out. Like and then obviously Dumbledore lets him pick up the grubby little package that we'll talk about, which is obviously Sorcerer's Stone. So I mean, Hagrid. I just want to note that Hagrid talks about it, but like it's very much true, and you consistently see it time after time that Dumbledore does trust Hagrid.
With things that most people would be like, I don't trust anybody but myself.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
the little
Harry
package,
Potter. He's famous.
hint is the whole reason for this story,
Yeah.
and it's an item with extreme amount of power. So it's like you're trusting somebody with literally more power than even a wand could aid you.
I think the other one might be.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like
it keeps you alive. I don't know.
this
Yes.
is something super significant.
Right. I mean, yeah, he trusts him a lot. And so is Harry. Harry is the only one that can defeat Voldemort, and Dumbledore has a good idea of that at this point. That he has a big key to that, and he's trusting Hagrid with him. So he obviously trusts Hagrid. And again, we were gonna make theory list video. We talk about this all the time, but there's a theory to that about why possibly Dumbledore trusts Hagrid so much, which may be answered in one of these Fantastic Beasts movie that's coming out.
Possibly.
Maybe not necessarily Crimes of Grindelwald, but maybe, who knows? We'll find out.
Yes, we will.
Moving
Can't wait
on.
to see that.
Oh yeah, it's coming out soon. Moving on. Hagrid flew to Harry. He mentions that he flew there. My question is, you need a broom to fly, unless you're Voldemort or Snape, apparently in Book 7. But how did Hagrid says he flew there? On what? There's no hippogriff around. Unless the hippogriff took off, maybe. But like, why would he not hold on to the hippogriff and fly back to London? Like, why take the boat?
Maybe, and this is just a speculation, Hagrid apparated?
Which I thought too, but then why would he say fly? Maybe he's just like, I don't want to get into it, and he just told him fly, but...
I mean, apparating kind of, like when they describe it, feels like flying.
I know, but it's...
But it's more like teleporting.
But he said flew, so it's just... I mean, again, it could just be him being like, I don't feel like explaining an apparition to an 11-year-old. I'm just going to tell him I flew. But...
Although it would be kind of interesting, like, because...
Well, like, can Hagrid even
what if he came out of the
apparate, though?
fireplace? I flew.
But can Hagrid even apparate? Because he never was able to get his apparition license. He was expelled before that. So technically, it's more illegal for him to apparate than it is for him to do magic almost. Because he's A, performing magic, B, with doing it without an apparition license. Anyways, speculation. But I just thought that was interesting. I'm going to look a little bit more into that, actually. Hopefully I can answer that for you guys in our next episode. Moving on. We're all the way at Gringotts now. Gringotts high security vaults are guarded by... Dum dum dum! Fire breathers. Dragons. Now, I have a little thing for you guys here. And this is referenced in my Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them book here, where it lists all the beasts. And I have a dragon here. So it says... Probably the most famous of all magical beasts, dragons are among the most difficult to hide. The female is generally larger and more aggressive than the male, though neither should be approached by any but highly skilled and trained wizards. Dragon blood, heart, liver, and horn all have highly magical properties, but dragon eggs are defined as a Class A non-tradable goods. There are 10 breeds of dragon, though these have been known to interbreed on occasion, producing rare hybrids. Purebred dragons are as follows. I'm not going to get into it, but they are Class 5X on the Ministry of Magic classification, which is the highest classification, and is a known wizard killer / impossible to train or domesticate, which again is interesting because why are we talking about dragons? Well, they're in Gringotts, but Hagrid talks about wanting to own one, but they are intrainable.
Although, to be honest, in the whole series, I think dragons get brought up, like we actually get to meet actual dragons at least 3 times in the book. Once when Hagrid is training...
Yeah, Norbert.
Actually, no, 4. Yeah, when he's training Norbert. You know, he's taking care of him. 2, right before... Actually, yeah, 3. Basically, the book 4, Goblet of Fire.
Star Wizard Tournament. Yep.
And then, I believe in book 7...
Well, yeah, book 7.
When they're...
Gringotts. When they're escaping from Gringotts after breaking in.
Right, but I think they ride the dragon?
Yeah, they ride the dragon.
Right,
they ride it out of Gringotts.
Right. I was like, this is, and so it's kind of interesting that we get 3 that's how significant dragons are.
Yeah, I mean,
they would appear.
They're one of the most magical.
And we've seen so
sought
many
after creatures.
Like we've seen so many different versions.
Properties.
Like Phoenixes, there's only one. Hippogriffs, I think we see, like, by name, like, 1.
Right.
So it's just interesting that, dragons, they're really rare, but, like, okay, if they're really rare, why do we get to see them 3 times?
Right. Well, just because they're rarely rare, but they're also highly, sought after, and they're very good at guarding shit. Like, nobody's gonna mess with a dragon. They're gonna eat your face off. I mean, think about... If you going to the movie, think about how many Gringotts officials that were killed by the dragon. You know what I mean? In a second. So
it would be interesting that, if there was a nest down there, a whole
nest of dragons. There might be. I mean, it does say dragons, plural. We saw 1, but maybe there's multiple. Maybe they have a bunch of dragons.
And then the vaults are actually where nests used to exist. Kind of thing. That'd be kind of cool.
That's a stretch, but yeah. To breed, yeah. They bred them in Gringotts.
Like the whole underground.
They say Gringotts is one of the most secure places of all time, except for Hogwarts, of course. So maybe that's where they interbreed dragons. I mean, you're not going to go down there unless you're stupid or on a very specific
I think there's one
mission.
place that's more guarded, and that would be the Department of Mysteries, but...
I mean, think about how easy some kids broke in. Oh, how easily kids broke into Gringotts. All right, point taken. All right, let's move on here. I got something for you here. Oh, I think we just kind of touched on robbing Gringotts.
Where they just, like Josh was saying, kind of touched on it. It's just interesting that Hagrid in this chapter, he's like, yeah, you'd be a fool to rob Gringotts, and you wouldn't make it out alive.
Right.
Coincidentally, 6 books later, Harry, Ron, and Hermione
rob
Gringotts. Yeah, they're like, yeah, this is a great idea. I know we got told that we shouldn't do this, but I really want to do it.
To be fair, humanity depended on it.
Well, yes, but, I mean, cause if they didn't have a dragon, it would have been suicidal.
Right, but it was also suicidal because of the dragon.
Good point.
So,
does that make us even?
Again, it's very back and forth. So you want to talk about Hagrid's take on the Ministry of Magic?
Yeah, he
I'm gonna pull up. It is page 65. So while he's doing that, I'm going to read a little expert on Gringotts. Alright, exhibit on Gringotts. So, it's in the Diagon Alley. It's a bank. This is straight from Pottermore, by the way. Magical properties, vaults that only goblins can open. Nobody else but the goblin can open it. Significant events that took place here. Harry, Ron, and Hermione break in. Okay, that's to secure her Horcrux. Peculiar things that live here, goblins and a dragon. And I wanted to...
Oh, while you're doing that, Hagrid says, well, their main job, when he's talking about the Ministry of Magic, he says, well, their main job is to keep it from the muggles, that there are still witches and wizards up and down the country. Harry's like, well, why? Hagrid's like, why? Blimey, everybody be wanting magic solutions to their problems. Nah, we're best left alone. Which I think is interesting, because, I mean, yes, that could be a reason, but there could also be the reason that, if we get exposed, I mean, we just, when we were talking a couple chapters earlier about the rifles and stuff, I'm pretty sure that's a really good reason to avoid a war, because you get outnumbered, and unless you got, 1,000 Voldemorts just happening to lying around,
right?
You're gonna take some even with, I'm pretty sure if Voldemort went to the Muggles,
right?
Yeah,
but
especially in modern day.
I mean, but Hagrid, while I agree with you that I don't think that's the reason they want to keep wizards in hiding necessarily. I think he is right that the Ministry of Magic's job is to keep the wizards in hiding, whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
So he knows that at least. But it is interesting his take on it, and it makes you wonder, how little known. Everyone knows the Ministry of Magic, but they don't know why Ministry of Magic enforces these rules.
Why does it exist in the first place? I mean, other than to obviously govern.
Yeah, but why does it govern? Why do they need to be in hiding? Why is the Ministry of Magic enforce keeping them hiding?
I mean, we get a glimpse in the later books where, it's we kind of answer to the Prime Minister, because, I've heard from different sources, people doing videos and of that nature, where they talk about the fact that it seems more like the Ministry is a part of a bigger government, like a department, than its own actual entity.
Right.
Which is weird because
Right. Ministry of Magic isn't the government, is basically what it's saying.
Yeah,
it's a part of the government, a branch of the government, kind of. But to touch on that real fast, it's kind of funny that the Ministry of Magic, whatever the reason to keep wizards in hiding, it all goes back to the point that they think muggles will react a certain way.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to touch on the Fantastic Beasts here, the movies, because what's his name? I'm blanking on this guy's name.
The chubbier guy, right?
Yeah, what's his name? It's Jacob. Jacob, the Nomad, finds out they're wizards, and he treats them no differently.
And
that could, 1 in 100,000 might, but what are the odds on a random given poll that the one guy they find doesn't treat them differently?
That's actually a good movie to bring up, because we kind of get two reactions out of that movie. We have Jacob's reaction, although he does kind of seem like, when he learns about Queenie's abilities, he's this is kind of cool.
Right, but, and I think I know what you're getting at here. You got to remember, it's different. Anything that's different for people, they act, and it's intriguing or it's scary. It's different. But just like if I were to walk down the street and I saw a guy dressed in a mask, I would be like, whoa, that's strange. I wouldn't just walk by him like nothing. I'd be like, that's strange. What's going on here? It's not necessarily the fact that he's in the mask. It's just that it's different in normal society. Now, I think this is where you're going. If not, I apologize. But when it's kind of at the end of the movie, when it's magic is shown through the world, and all the random people's reactions are like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" Blah blah blah.
And they seem to
But-
super amounts of hate it.
Yeah, but it's because it's so different. It's so outside of the normal society. Now that could be their fear, but if you never let it get to that point, if you made it a normal society, would they accept it?
That's a great question.
I mean, you can argue. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to get into politics on this podcast. But you can get into with all of the, what do you call it? Transgender or
Right.
gay, straight, bi, whatever. You can get into that. That again is it the fact that it's different normal society that people are reacting, or do they actually don't like it because of a certain reason? And you can get into whatever. You can have your own feelings. I'm not going to get into it on this podcast. So don't even contact us about that. I'm just saying it goes along with this.
Yeah.
Or is their reaction because it's outside normal society and it's different, they don't know how to react? Or is it because they actually are like, oh my God, wizards, I hate wizards, they're evil, You
I think it's more of the first one. Just, a shock, like,
Right.
what?
And that's what I think too.
Kind of
And
like
it kinda
when
shows with
Harry
Jacob.
first learned, he was like,
Yeah.
what?
And it kind of shows with Jacob. And think about all these Muggleborns, like, they attend Hogwarts. They're not like, curse the devil, get out of my house. They let them attend Hogwarts, but they don't know anything about it. I'm sure they're shocked. Why do you think Dumbledore visits them personally to give them their letter?
Right.
Because they're shocked. But they come around to it. I mean, all of these Muggleborns, their parents were Muggles, or are Muggles.
Right.
And yet they accept their witch or wizard child enough. So take that small sample and apply it into the big world? Yeah, there are going to be people that say Salem witch trials were a thing. Does that mean every single Muggle is going to rise up and despise against them? Okay, we got to move on. We've dragged on this way too long, but
But it's an interesting topic for sure.
it's an interesting topic, and it's to be its own episode. And maybe one day we will make an episode about that.
I was just about to say
But for
that.
now, we've talked about this way too long. We're gonna have to move on. So now the next thing I'm gonna be going over on page 66 is the Hogwarts list. So here's all the things that a first year needs for the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. First year students will require. You read it.
3 sets of plain work robes, must be black. 1 plain pointed hat, black, for every for day wear. Third on the list is 1 pair of protective gloves, has to be dragon hide or similar. 1 winter cloak, black with silver fastenings. It says, please note that all pupils' clothes should carry name tags, which I think is interesting because I don't believe the movies actually show
Name tags, no. I don't
name
think so.
tags at all,
I don't
which is
think so.
interesting because according to this list, it's required. Or it seems like it. For the course books, you should have a copy of each of the following: the Standard Book of Spells, Grade 1, a History of Magic, which is interesting because it's by Bathilda Bagshot, who doesn't become important until Book 7.
But it has a major role.
Right.
Yeah.
Where we might talk about this more in the Nagini episode. Nagini kind of takes over her body.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just interesting that, like, this person that
Which is
doesn't...
creepy. We'll get into it in the beginning episode. I have thoughts about that.
Right, which is like, oh, okay. This random person that we get introduced in, like, the first 5 chapters of the book doesn't get talked about for however many chapters between.
Yeah.
And then 6 books later, it's like, oh, yeah, so this person we mentioned.
Right.
Yeah, they're important now.
Yep.
Magical Theory, A Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration, 1,000 Magical Herbs and Fungi, Magical, and I'm going to mispronounce this, Draughts and Potions,
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander, which is just
Yeah.
crazy to think that, again, 5 chapters in to the first book, and we're getting somebody who we're just now, even after the series is, the main series is done, we're finally getting, like, more explanation as to who this person is and why are they important.
Right.
And last book is The Dark Forces, A Guide to Self-Protection. And some other equipment that they're going to need. A wand. Gotta have a wand. A cauldron. Has to be pewter. Standard size 2. I think that's kind of funny. Like a number 2 pencil.
Oh, yeah.
A set. Glass or crystal files. A telescope. And 1 set of breast scales. The student must also bring an owl, a cat, or a toad. So one of those 3 you have to bring.
May. You don't have to. It says students may bring.
But I mean, most people.
Oh yeah, you
bring.
do.
Like, I don't think we
just
actually ever get introduced to a character who didn't.
No, you do. I was just pointing. Well, Hermione doesn't for a while, until she gets the cat.
Oh yeah, good point. Parents are reminded.
Oh wait, no, she has an owl, doesn't she?
I think so. We'll find out.
We like Harry Potter, I swear.
Parents are reminded that first years are not allowed to own their own broomsticks.
Nope. Bag it up. Nope. Yep. Not you. Sorry. The first years. Okay.
I think you had something, Josh.
I sure does. So that was an interesting list right there. Don't know why I'm going Southern. That was an interesting list. I have something interesting here. It's a little point out fact that Harry's never been to London. Now, as I was writing this down, I'm like, okay, he's 11 years old. I guess that makes sense. I mean, there's places I haven't been that's close to where I live, and I'm 24 years old. But just because I'm me and I like to go extra, I decided to look up a little bit of direction on London and number 4 Privet Drive. So, from what I can find on Google, number 4 Privet Drive is actually, like, it's not called number 4 Privet Drive. The house that's
in the movies
is 12 Picket Post Close, Bracknell, Berkshire. So, I'm guessing town, state.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 40 miles to London, which would be 1 hour and 9 minutes of driving. So he lives about an hour out of London, never been there, 11 years old. I know the Dursleys has been there, but as we know, they don't like to take him anywhere.
I mean, that's like for people who live around a big city, with an hour. I mean, how many people who live in New York but like live an hour out have actually been to New York City?
No, yeah, I know. I was just, like I said, it makes sense, and he's only 11, but I just wanted to put that a little bit in perspective.
It's kind of weird, because, I mean, granted, you have cases where people haven't visited the city, but I think most people, at least once, whether they remember it or not. It's like, oh, yeah.
Possibly, but again, he's only 11, so he hasn't had a whole lot of life to live.
Yeah, but this is London, dude.
If he was like 50, that'd be like, okay, never been there. Like 11, like, maybe they're like, oh, I don't feel safe taking him. Dursleys just don't like him, so. Anyways, but I just thought that was interesting. I have here that Harry. Oh, it says that Harry. What am I saying? Harry has a feeling only him and Hagrid can see the leaky cauldron, which
is kind of like Grimmauld Place.
It is exactly like Grimmauld Place. And it's our first ever look at the Fidelis charm, which is super interesting because I totally have missed that for years. I mean, I realized that before I read it this time around, but I missed that for so many years. And then one day I was rereading it, and I was like,
I didn't know.
Wait a minute,
until you brought it up. I was like,
yeah.
Oh right,
it's so easy to overlook because you're just like, okay, well, Harry doesn't. He's never been to London. He doesn't really know anything about the wizarding world, so he probably just overlooked it. Like, it's probably easy to overlook. That's what I always thought, but then it really clicked in. Like, only him and Hagrid can see it, as far as he can tell. And there is something that will cause that. Muggles to not see things, and that is the Fidelis charm. Actually, anybody can't see it unless you're told about it. So,
which is actually even more interesting because it's like Oh no, it's like Grimmauld Place. Like,
And it makes
having
sense
to be
because there's
brought
only
to
wizards in
said
there.
location,
Right.
and shown that said place exists.
And see, there's some discrepancies because I mean, I could go back and read the chapter. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think he ever tells him that they're going to the Leaky Cauldron. Ever tells him that the name of it's the Leaky Cauldron or anything like that. Even if he was, I don't know if he's a secret keeper. If he even is able to do that.
I feel like once you've somebody's led you, you become a secret keeper.
No, I don't think so because in the 5th book, when Harry is led to Grimmauld Place, he has to be giving a note by Dumbledore in Dumbledore's handwriting saying that there's a place called Grimmauld Place, number 11 Grimmauld Place. But because it's in Dumbledore's handwriting, it works, but it has to be in his handwriting, even though everybody's been there before.
Okay.
So...
Maybe it's
And
just
I might be
Fidelis
missing
charm
something
on-
there. Yeah, I
on
don't know.
steroids, maybe?
I don't know. I might be missing something there, but definitely got to be under the Fidelis charm because only wizards are in there. I mean, that's obvious from the moment he walks in. It's only wizards in there. So, like, they have to do something to keep a Muggle from wandering in. Actually, I think it says something in the book somewhere about it being under the Fidelis charm. I just don't remember, but yeah. So that's interesting.
Speaking of wizards in the Leaky Cauldron, one of the wizards, very, very significant, is Professor Quirrell.
Yeah, ew.
And me and Josh were talking before we did the podcast, and I brought up, like, because Quirrell says, Potter, can't tell you how pleased I am to meet you. Which is really interesting because he can be speaking for himself, but because later on we get confirmation that this is after Quirrell has met Voldemort, that he's not just pleased for himself, that this is also most likely he's pleased to meet him because Voldemort's with him on the back of his head, which is very interesting to think about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because later on, like, just a little bit.
Who was really interested to meet him?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, wait, this is after he's already got Voldemort on the back of his head. I mean, it doesn't say anything about him wearing a turban or anything.
Right, but he is though. I mean, I did look it up because I thought that he was on him after the Sorcerer's Stone incident, but according to I think it was Pottermore, I'd have.
Well, and even in the book, it says I've got to pick up a new book on vampires, and then on the very next page, Harry's questioning vampires, hags, and Hagrid answers him and says, well, this is something that he has experienced in Transylvania, in the Black Forest. So it's very interesting.
Right, yeah. And I can't give you the right answer right now, but I'm pretty sure he's already attached to Quirrell's head at this point. I read it on, I think it was the Harry Potter Wikia. But...
Because, like, one of the first people he meets...
Yep. Is the one that wants to kill him.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of push it along here only because we're kind of getting late. We're running a little long. But I want to give a couple facts on Quirrell here while we're on it. I'm actually going to run through some facts on the people we meet at the Leaky Cauldron as well as the Leaky Cauldron. So Quirrell, his birthday is September 26th. His wand is Eldorn Unicorn here, 9 inches long, bendy, flexibility. His house is Ravenclaw. His skills, learned in the theory of defensive magic, less adept to the practice. That's kind of funny. Basically, he knows defensive magic, but he's trash at it. His hobbies, travel and pressing wildflowers. And he died in 1992. So that's Quirrell. I'm not going to get into all of his background because, I mean, we'll learn all that throughout the book as it is. I got Daedalus Diggle. His fact files, not much here. His skills are an enthusiastic volunteer for the Order of the Phoenix and a helpful escort for Harry and his relatives. That's where he comes in. In
right.
book 7,
because
him and the girl come move the Dursleys.
We were reading, and I was like, "Oh, that name sounds so familiar. Why?" And now that makes sense.
He's also mentioned in the first chapter where it's shooting stars down in Kent. But that was Daedalus Diggle. He never had much sense. That was Minerva McGonagall talking about him. Other than that, there's not much about Daedalus himself. We're going to move on to Doris Crockford. This is from the Harry Potter Wikia. Doris Crockford, again, not much on her. Was a witch who greeted Harry Potter in the Leaky Cauldron on the way to Harry's first trip into Diagon Alley on July 31st, 1991. She was enthusiastic to see him and was noted to have shaken Harry's hand many times. That's all I got. Then you got Tom, the barman, and where is it? Tom. There's a lot on Tom. I'm gonna kind of flow through it. So his early life, he attended Hogwarts, studied there from age 11 until he left, obviously. Became the barman / landlord of the Leaky Cauldron sometime before 1938. It's possible Tom encountered Tom Marvolo Riddle, Lord Voldemort, on his way to Diagon Alley for the first time. In 1991, Harry and Hagrid passed through Leaky Cauldron on the way to Diagon Alley. 1993, Cornelius Fudge asked Tom to keep an eye on Harry while Sirius Black was on the loose. 1997, Tom attended the funeral of Dumbledore. 1998, Tom was greeted by Bellatrix Lestrange while on her way. Well, actually, it was Hermione that was posing as Bellatrix with Polyjuice Potion on her way to Diagon Alley. And post-Second Wizarding War, Tom passed away or retired during the next 19 years as Anna Habit took over as landlady and lived at the inn with her husband, Neville Longbottom. Wandless magic, actually. Tom was capable of performing simple wandless magic such as lighting a fireplace. That's interesting. And nonverbal, Tom was able to turn off a car alarm using nonverbal magic in 1993. So other than that...
No need for a button.
Yeah, so that's what I have on Tom. And then the last thing I have here is going to be the Leaky Cauldron fact file from Pottermore. It is in Drury Lane in London. It's a pub, and its resident owners are obviously Tom the barman, currently in this book. Magical properties, magically invisible to muggles. So, boom, Fidel's Charm. That kind of tells you right there. Significant events. Harry Potter realizes he is famous there. And let me just scroll through and make sure I'm not missing nothing. Nope, doesn't look like it. Nothing interesting. So yeah, that's it. I mean, kind of proves that it has some charm on it. Probably the Fidelis Charm. Alright, let's move along with the chapter here. So, the next note we have here. Gringotts Warning. I'm going to read the Gringotts Warning, which is on page... Oh, that would be on the fact file. Nope.
I got you.
Trevor's got me.
I've been keeping up.
Alright, here we go. I'm going to read it as I would...
A warning to anybody.
If I were writing it. Enter, stranger, but take heed of what awaits this sin of greed. For those who take, but do not earn, must pay most dearly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure... a treasure... a treasure that was never yours. Thief, you have been warned, beware of finding more than treasure there. I hope you guys enjoy that. Which is dragons.
Yeah.
And spells. Basically, just don't do it unless you're trying to stop Voldemort. I didn't look this up. I'm going to look this up real fast. So you talk about your organization of Gringotts. Because Trevor has something to say.
Kind of to go along with our earlier discussion of when Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in there, we get to see that there's carts and there's tracks everywhere, but on like certain places there's a lake down there, which is really interesting. Like how big is this place? Obviously, there's at least one dragon there. But yeah, I thought it very interesting how they described, the detail of that there's only one speed, that the cart is really fast, and it takes turns and curves, and it has so many places. In the movie, we get to see where it splits off, and one track will go down this way, and the other track will go another way, and just thought that was really interesting.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm still looking this. Alright, here's what I got. So, I didn't tell you all the question. So, while in their journey to the vault, while Hagrid's trying not to be super sick, Harry, for some reason, asks this question. What's the difference between a stalagmite and a stalactite? And of course, Hagrid, being Hagrid, he's like, stalagmite has an M. But I figured I want to answer that question. I want to know. So here's what I got. Stalactite in an icicle shape. Sorry. A stalactite is an icicle-shaped formation that hangs from the ceiling of a cave and is produced by precipitation of minerals from water dripping through the cave ceiling. Most stalactites have pointed tips. A stalagmite is an upward growing mound. Yeah.
It's literally the reverse.
Yeah. An upward growing mound of mineral deposits that have precipitated from water dripping onto the floor of a cave. Most stalagmites have rounded or flattened tips. So, stalactite, whatever it is on the ceiling, stalagmite on the ground. Basically the same stuff, though. So, I just thought that was interesting because it's a random question that Harry asks while trying not to get sick. While Hagrid's trying not to get sick.
Now, when they finally get to Harry's vault, a lot of green smoke comes billowing out, which I just find interesting. I would love to know more of the significance because no other vaults have stuff like that coming out of it. But it's just interesting because Harry's parents were killed by Avada Kedavra, which is the killing curse, and it's green.
It's green, light, glowing.
So it's just like, oh, okay.
So it's either just a coincidence or it's some significance just to show that it still lingers around after all those years.
Very, very interesting.
And also I wanted to note, it's funny that, not funny, but it's interesting that when Harry asks how often they check the vaults, the goblin mentions that they check the vault one every 10 years. So if you get locked in a vault, you're dead. That's it. End of story. You're not going to be found for 10 years.
10 years worth of food.
Yeah. Which is ironic enough because Harry's 11, so his vault was probably gone in the last time 11 years ago. So it's just interesting. It'd be interesting if they found something in there because it hasn't been checked since. Harry, nobody checked it because they don't check it. Only check it once every 10 years.
Which makes sense when you consider how many. It's the only bank.
Yeah.
Really terrible.
There's probably
choices.
A lot of vaults. I mean, his is 792.
I believe so. Yeah.
Or no?
No, 92 is
392.
Oh, 392. I think so.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not actually don't like Harry Potter. Just so you guys know. Dang it. Anyways, so we move on to the next vault, which has a grubby little package in it, which is the Sorcerers Stone or the Philosophers Stone, whatever. That was weird. Whatever you prefer. Okay, can you stop talking? No, I'm kidding. We just keep saying the same thing at the same time. So, yeah, so it's got the Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone. Again, Dumbledore very much trusts Hagrid. And Hagrid's very trustworthy. He's not going to do anything to disappoint Dumbledore again. Actually, I never did. It was all... Anyways, that's a different book and a different time. But then, Trevor wanted to point out, after they leave Gringotts, head to Madam Milkins. But Hagrid does something questionable. What is that, Trevor?
Kind of just leaves him. He's like, hey, so I kind of want a drink. You mind just, chilling out here and getting your robes?
And this is why
you just met the boy.
Yep. And he's 11.
You just showed him that magic is real.
Super famous. There still might be Death Eaters out there that want to kill him, so you're going to leave him alone in his shop. Where, ironic enough, he runs into a future Death Eater in Malfoy.
Right, and it's just interesting when he meets Malfoy because one, Malfoy, for whatever reason, doesn't realize that he's talking to Harry Potter at all.
Which is
during
funny
the
because
entire
everyone
exchange.
recognizes Harry Potter except for Malfoy.
Two, that immediately Harry associates Malfoy with Dudley. He's like in there it describes like, oh yeah, reminds me very much of Dudley.
Because he's a bully, and you can tell. I mean, I didn't write it down, but he basically, like, questions why he's here with Hagrid, and Harry's like, my parents are dead. He goes, oh, sorry, but he wasn't really sorry, and he showed it in his face. Like, come on, have some empathy.
Yeah, that's not his go-to.
And you had something about Vindictus Viridian?
Oh, yes. When they're buying the books, one of the books that Harry kind of is stuck to and Hagrid has to almost drag him away from is Curses and Counter Curses. And the author is Professor Vindictus Viridian, which is interesting considering to be vindictive is to like go after somebody with like ill intent. Like your whole purpose, like you're going to torture that person.
Yep. And he made a book about curses.
Right.
So
oh, that's a great name.
Yeah, like it very much fits.
Viridian is actually a green. So like a lot of imagery.
Is it?
I believe so.
I don't know. Maybe. Let us know if we're wrong. Yeah, Hedwig. Oh, and we want to know Hedwig's introduction. Why did we want to know Hedwig's introduction? Because what's the name of our podcast, people? Hedwigs Army. He is our... What was it? What'd you say? What name?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned he's our... something name.
She...
Whatever. You know what I mean.
Is our mascot. She is the purpose...
You used a good word earlier. I can't remember what it was. It was our something name. Namesake. It's our namesake.
Right.
But also, Hedwig's, I mean, just a huge part of the Harry Potter series in general, and anyone that doesn't like Hedwig is not welcome to listen to this podcast any longer. So...
And it's weird that you would click on it if you didn't want.
Yeah, because it's called Hedwig's Army. Like, what do you think? We're going to be like, Hedwig is evil and vindictive.
Oh my gosh. Well, and even you mentioned when we were talking before the podcast that Hedwig kind of symbolizes a lot of things for Harry. Kind of symbolizes his innocence. Oh. Because she's a snowy owl, she's pure. You know, his world hasn't been tainted just quite yet. He's just learning about things.
And his safety because it's his pet, it's his companion.
But later on,
she's there to help him. And then it also ties him to the wizarding world when he's at the Dursleys.
Right.
So it's like his form of his form of communication and his form of holding on to the wizarding world when he's not at Hogwarts.
I feel like she's literally his best friend. Nothing against people who like Ron and Hermione and see them as this, because they weren't there all the time. But Hedwig is always there. He needs to send it to somebody, an envelope or something. She's there for him.
Right. Right. So yeah, it's Hedwig. I mean, it's Hedwig. This is Hedwig's Army. Put two and two together. That's that. So moving on here. I'm going to tie these together, but we're going to touch on it. Ollivander and Hagrid, and Ollivander and Harry. Basically, Ollivander remembers everybody's wand, including Hagrid's.
Which is just insane, because he's got to be sold like hundreds of wands in his time.
But also, he makes a note. You want to look up to page 83 for me real quick.
Rather bendy, wasn't it?
No, let me see it. It said, it was rather bendy. Sorry, it was rather bendy. But he says, good one, that one, but I suppose they snapped it in half when you got expelled, said Mr. Ollivander, suddenly stern. Yes, they did, yes, said Hagrid, shuffling his feet. I've still got the pieces, though, he added brightly. But you don't use them, said Mr. Ollivander sharply. Oh, no, sir, said Hagrid quickly. Harry noticed he gripped his pink umbrella very tightly as he spoke. If you've listened to our other podcasts, we've mentioned a theory that the wand is inside of the umbrella, and this just kind of solidifies that it's possible, because Ollivander is a very well-known wand maker. He knows wands front and back, everything about a wand. And he questions if Hagrid is using the wand pieces. So he implies that you can use wand pieces even once the wand is snapped in half. That shows that they still hold magical ability. Now, everyone that's ever watched or the movie or read the first Harry Potter book knows that Hagrid has magic in his umbrella. It's obvious. He uses it for everything magical. So like fires to open, Diagon Alley. Now, I'm going to go on a small tangent here, a short one, but when he opens Diagon Alley, like, they know that his only way to get to Diagon Alley with Harry is to use magic on the brick. So, everybody that knows that Hagrid took Harry to Diagon Alley knows that Hagrid used magic. I'm going to leave it right there. But he's expelled. He's not supposed to use magic. So, that he's expelled. Or, I'm going to leave that there, though, for interpretation. But, so, it's implied that he could, like, that kind of solidifies the fact that he's got pieces of a wand in his umbrella.
Right.
Or Dumbledore saved his whole wand snapping, but they still told the public he got his wand snapped because he was expelled, and it's in the umbrella. Something of that sort. But since he said I still got the pieces, although he could just be playing. We'll make a video. I want to make a video about theories, and that's definitely going to be one because I'm so passionate about that. But also, Ollivander and Harry.
When Harry finally gets the wand that takes to him, a phoenix feather in Hollywood, Ollivander is like, hey, just so you know, I sold the one that has the same core from the same phoenix.
Right. Which only gave one other feather. Just one other.
Which is extremely rare. It is stated that, like, for two wands to have even the same core is like 1 in a gajillion. I mean, they don't really give that number, but that's what it's implied.
And it just so happens whose wand does she share a core with?
Ironically, it's the same wand that gave him his scar.
Yeah, ironically, but not ironically. Once you learn more about it, it's not super ironic. He was destined for that wand when Voldemort tried to kill him. So,
well, no,
but why? Why is he destined for that one of those? Because he has a Horcrux. Voldemort. He's a Horcrux for Voldemort.
Which makes me wonder.
That's why
I know
he's
we're
destined
running
for that
a little
one.
long here.
Which maybe is why the one never fully works. Well, it does work with Harry. I don't know.
I think it's just interesting because, and I know we're running short on time, but the fact that did the wand choose the Voldemort part of Harry?
Yeah, I mean, it had to have.
The Horcrux? Or did it choose
Excuse me.
the pure part of Harry?
Right. I mean,
I'd like to think it chose both.
Yeah, I think it chose both. I think there's a part of Harry fighting against the part of Voldemort inside Harry all the time, and you kind of see it in the 5th book when he's getting angry all the time and singing to Voldemort, but he's still fighting it. But
great way to explain.
But I think
puberty.
it chooses both. Huh?
Said great way to explain puberty.
Puberty, jeez. Basically.
From
but yeah, so
books
that's
3 through 5.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more throughout the book because it touches more on that specific part. And then to close out the chapter, Harry doesn't know why he's famous. Nobody will tell him why he's famous. He knows he is famous and he knows his parents are dead. But that's that. Everyone knows him and he has no idea why. And
then Hagrid does it again.
Yep.
He's like, hey, so I know I was supposed to be your guardian, but can you just, hop on a train and hightail it back to your aunt and uncle's?
Right.
Really, Hagrid?
Yep. Oh, it does it again. Adios, brother. See you on the flip side, but I'm out of this. And he just sends an 11-year-old on a train to find his way back to Privet 4, which he's going to Privet 4, I'm assuming, even though who knows what the Dursleys are back at. So maybe he's going to chill by himself outside because he doesn't have a key. But anyways, that's the chapter, and that is the episode. That is Chapter 5, Diagon Alley. That is Episode 5 of Hedwigs Army. And we are back! And we are here to stay. And we updated the website to check it out. New question of the week, new fact of the week. But other than that, I mean, just hit us up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Hedwigs Army podcast, Hedwigs_Army, Hedwigs Army podcast, yahoo.com. Or the easier way, go on our website. We have links to Twitter, Facebook. We have
iTunes.
all the places our podcasts are available. iTunes, Castbox, Switcher, TuneIn, YouTube, and Google Play Podcasts. So see us on there. Like, rate, subscribe, follow us wherever you
We
can.
very much appreciate it. Give us some feedback.
Give us, a rating on iTunes. Let us know what you guys think. Give us a star rating. 5 stars would be much appreciated. But we're not going to sell ourselves out any longer doing that. So, but we'd appreciate 5 stars. Or if you don't give us 5 stars, let us know what we can do to improve your star rating to 5. But make sure to leave a rating with a star rating. Doesn't matter what you guys say. You can let us know that your favorite color's blue. Mine's blue. So, what's yours, Trevor? Red?
Red.
I knew that. We're best friends. I knew that. But yeah, check us out wherever you can find us on any of those platforms. Hit us up. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Let us know how you feel about the new podcast format. This ran long, guys. This did. It's an hour. We wanted to keep it there. We want to keep it there, but we had some stuff to say to you in the beginning. It's also just a super long chapter. There's sometimes we just can't help it. We can't help it running an hour. It's a long chapter. We have a lot to talk about. We tried to rush as much as we can. It's so long.
But we also want to make sure that you get the content
we
that
want
you
the
deserve.
content. Yeah, we want the content in there. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys reach out to us. And keep an eye out for our Nagini episode that we should be releasing at the same time as this is the plan. If not, then super quick after this. So keep an eye out there. Also, let us know when's Crimes of Grey come out. I think it's this upcoming week. So if you see it, let us know what you guys think about it. We're going to be making a reaction video after. If you haven't seen our reaction video to the final trailer, go check it out on YouTube. Hedwigs Army podcast, or just Hedwigs Army. Anything else you'd like to say?
Keep an eye out for when we do that reaction video, because for my wedding, we got wands.
Oh, we did.
And you will be seeing those.
You will see our Harry Potter shoot. Our Harry Potter wedding shoot. So that'd be interesting. Just keep your eye out on the Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, like I said, all those. But most importantly, there's one place you can go to keep an eye out everywhere, and that is the hedwigsarmy.com. Hedwigsarmy.com? yeah, sorry. I can't remember we put podcast in there. It's been a while, guys. But hedwigsarmy.com, we have links to everything there. We have news, we have everything. We have everything everywhere. So thank you for tuning in to yet again another episode, the revival of Hedwigs Army. And until next time, mischief managed.
Every great wizard in history has started out as nothing more than what we are now, students. If they can do it, why not us?